let me just say real quick, if you guys absolutely hate the segment thing, we like it because it keeps us more focused, and we can't like get too unfocused because we only have 15-minute segments, and we do 4 of them, and so it kind of helps us, and of course it makes the editing and stuff easier. But if you guys just absolutely hate them for some reason, let us know, and we can like take them out. Yeah, we can take them out and then just invisibly cut them up for the YouTube people. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So just I don't know. Do you want to talk about some of our favorite moments from it? Because there were some really cool scenes. So go ahead while I finish this.
First off, the moment. I think it was like in the first, very end of like the opening third. He flies back to his father. What do you call him? I guess it's his dad. Whatever. Yeah. His dad's grave. Pa Kent, Jonathan Kent, and he's sitting there, not sitting, hovering, and he's talking about like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I know what you expect of me, and I heard how you. I remember all the things you taught me and all that kind of stuff, and I liked that whole scene. It was like 4 or 5 pages long, and I like that because I mean I don't think there's a person.
Because they had a flashback, right? That's why it was so long, right? They had a
He did it. He was deciding, like, he'd just gotten rejected from the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, but it wasn't 4 or 5 pages of him just thinking, right? Didn't it had that flashback, or was that flashback a later time?
No, he was like audibly like speaking to the gravestone.
Because they did actually go back and show him and stuff being raised and being told and all that.
Yeah, it was right after that, I think. But I like that scene because I don't think there's a person on earth that hasn't had a conversation like that, whether it's with like at a graveside talking to somebody that you lost, or if it's just like talking to the wall or poster of somebody that you idolize and look up to or whatever like that. You know,
I don't talk to my posters. No, I don't know. Justin Bieber, give me guidance.
If you have Justin Bieber on your
I'm
wall,
making fun
that's
of you.
Awesome. I don't actually.
I'm making fun of you.
But
you know you have Justin Bieber on your wall.
I don't have anything on my walls at the moment. Even if I did, like the only purpose I'd have for him being on my wall is as a target, my BB gun.
Okay. Anyways, back to the story.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm done.
Okay, so that was one of your favorite parts?
Yeah.
I have a few. This is not my favorite part, but I did think it was pretty funny how they felt the need to, back in the day when Superman was first created, that was a long time ago, and a lot of people have made fun of his costume, how it's, very bright and very all this kind of stuff, and like even when they made when the new movies have been made, like X-Men and stuff, that was like the first thing they did with like the X-Men movies, is they got rid of the bright, colorful spandex costumes, and they put on more realistic looking costumes. But what I thought was interesting is they tried to explain, because they had to keep the classic Superman, but they explained it by the fact that and this also worked better because they used to explain that the reason his costumes wouldn't get damaged easily is because he has this like aura kind of around him, and so anything within a few millimeters of his skin would be nearly invulnerable too, which would make more sense for like Supergirl or Superboy based off how their powers work, but Superman doesn't really work. His skin is just, it's basically, saying that he's invulnerable is like saying that, like with Luke Cage's unbreakable skin, it's like saying he has unbreakable skin, bones, and organs, Mm-hmm. That's just all invulnerable means, is you can't really, he's unbreakable. So that wouldn't make any sense. I mean, you can wrap up like a piece of, Captain America's shield, strongest stuff on Earth, right? It's like a mix of adamantium and vibranium. It's not going to, if you wrap it up skin tight, it's not going, there's no aura that's going to make that,
If anything, there's probably going to tear more because it's stretched so tight.
Yeah, and it's just going to rip. So they did a better job explaining it by, his costume was actually the blankets that he was sent with, and so it was this really, impossible to break, they couldn't cut it. She had a really hard time sewing it, and just making his costume was really difficult. And she dyed it, but it wouldn't accept any dye because of the material it was made out of. And those were the colors. So that's why his costume is so bright and colorful, is because it had to be. Anything else he wore he would fight naked almost every time. Because seriously, in the first couple minutes of a fight, his clothes would be torn off. He'd fight naked, and that would just not work. It'd be embarrassing.
That's definitely not exactly
the image
of heroism. Although, unless...
And he couldn't dye the material, so I thought that was kind of interesting to explain it. But a couple of my favorite parts was the one I kind of mentioned a little bit is, I have a few. like I said, when he was like doing the different job stuff, like when he walks into this one like super high tech research facility, and the guy's like, okay, look kid, we're not really looking to fill the internship right now. Try again some other time. And he's like, oh, I'm not applying for the internship. I'm applying for the advanced.
He's like, you idiot, get with the program. I'm not here for an internship. Give me a job.
Yeah, he's like, I want the advanced, like research and development kind of job. Because what I love about this one is, like, Kryptonians are all like super smart and like more advanced, but then they've never really done that with Superman. Well, this one they did. He's a genius. And so he, which is, it's more, I don't know if he's quite that smart, but it's much more realistic that he's like he's like as smart as like Earth's greatest scientist, basically. And the guy like laughs at him and goes, yeah, okay, so every year we accept 4 interns from like the top of like Harvard and Yale, so like the Ivy League, basically. Hundreds of the best of the PhDs, people who graduate with their PhDs, we take 4 for interns. And after, was it 4 years? After however many years,
4 years, yeah.
what was it? They take 1 of them for the position?
Yeah.
Then something after like 4 years, so you got, it's like obviously very, very elite to get hired at this position. And he's like, well, go away, kid. And Clark goes, because you could see through the glass, you could see what they were working on. He goes, is that the equation they're working, or what are they working on? And he's like, oh, well, they're working on trying to get electricity out of salt or salt water. And they're like, oh, they're really close. They're just stuck on this one part. But he's like, how long have they been working on it? 3 years. So he writes something down, like this equation, and hands it to the guy. And goes, oh, go give this to him. And the guy's like, yeah, right, kid, whatever. He's like, come on, go give it to him, and I'll leave. If it's wrong or not, I'll leave, and you'll get rid of me and never hear from me again. So he goes, gives it to him. It shows the panels in the background. He's waiting. The guy hands it to him. They're kind of like, what? They look at him like, he wants us to do what? They look at it. They plug it in. And then all of a sudden it shows them like jump in the air, like giving 5, and the guy's like looking back, and the guy's like, how much money do you want? When can you start? Let's sign a contract. And a similar thing happened with football. He does this several times. So that was one of my favorites, like how much of a genius he is. And I think another one of my favorite parts is, and I don't necessarily know why, but it just because this kind of stuff is normally kind of like boring, but when he's getting owned by the bad guy, like the bad guy obviously knows all about Kryptonian, their stuff. And I really like when he explained the different, because they're both from the Red Sun. He explained under the different conditions what they have, like how under, if you just read it today, it's been like 2 weeks for me, so you can help me here. It's under yellow, dwarf, and blue suns, they have the powers that you see as Superman. And of course this guy, his are pretty similar. I don't think they're exactly the same because he's from a different planet, but he's similar. Strength, light, all this kind of stuff. I don't know if you have heat vision and all that, but similar.
You never used it, if you did.
Yeah, he just basically used strength, flight, and invulnerability. Under something, they were like all powerful, basically, like incredibly. What was it?
I think it was white.
Oh yeah, under a white sun. No, not blue. I think it was white, like a white sun or something. They were just like inconceivably powerful. Like they can't be beat or anything,
Turn of the century or something.
Yeah, and or if they're around a black hole, they're completely consumed. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if they go.
I'm guessing that's because black holes are like the toilet bowls of the universe, and everything just goes down.
Sucks all light in. So I don't know what completely consumed means, but anyways. Well, anyway, so he shoots down this giant red sun artificial light, which is slowly draining Clark's powers. But all Clark would have to do is fly out of it. So he also has like multiple times like super heavy gravity pinning him to the ground, and so he's being pinned to the ground and he's being drained of his powers. So Jimmy, which first off you gotta love Jimmy in this. Like Jimmy Olsen is normally like the retarded like. Why is he even in the comic? He's annoying. He was awesome. He's like out in this war scene. He's like about ready to lay his life down. He almost reminded me of like a soldier. He's like about ready to like lay his life down to preserve the freedom.
Bucky from.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then so he goes to get Superman. He gets in like half his body and just like it's like pulled right back out. Like it was like gonna crush me, So him and Lois jump in a giant like cement truck, drive up next to Superman. He grabs a hold of the chain. They pull him out. And then, okay, if they didn't do that, Superman would have been killed and the planet would have been destroyed. So that was really cool that like they saved him. So it was like those 3 things in that one little couple of pages made like one of my favorites is him explaining the different Sunlight stuff, them doing that, and then of course just Jimmy's attitude of like, I'm willing to die to get the truth out there, or to get these pictures, and then of course in the end they ended up having the only good pictures of it because all the other journalists and stuff were hiding, and the photographers and stuff, it's the end of the world, alien invasion. So, any other favorite parts for you out of it?
I just liked a lot of the old the DC Comics and whatever. I've kind of glanced over Superman's history because it's like everybody knows it, but I like the in-depth, just almost surgical, disassembly of all of his natural components and how everything worked, and then finally figuring out why the planet was exploded without any stupid Brainiac, although he might still be involved, but we don't know.
Yeah, and they even made the comment, I really like when he made the comment, you think a planet just explodes without giving a millennia of warning, because it was pretty abrupt.
I like the fact that Superman and the whatever, it reminded me a lot of the Hawkman invasion from the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
But their battle, they exchange punches a little bit, but it was mostly them. They were it almost felt like a Batman Joker type scenario because they were talking and kind of staring each other down.
It was a lot better writing than you normally see. It was much more emotional, psychological. It was just, I think it's one of the better Superman things I've seen done in a long time. Now, if you're wanting a Superman huge, massive knockdown fight, this isn't for you. The fight was good, but it wasn't that. This is a much thinner, a much more normal early 20s, Superman. It's more realistic looking. The art's very good, but it's not in a superhero kind of universe. It's in a regular world with a regular guy who has abilities. Yeah, it was really good. If you're out there, I'm going to say this because we're kind of wrapping up with this, then we'll get to our next segment. If you're out there and you don't like Superman because you think, he's the Boy Scout, there's no death, all this kind of stuff, go check it out. I'm not promising that you're going to love it, but it's definitely
a fresh look at Superman.
Yeah, and it's much better if you're I wish Superman was done better. Go check this out. It's really good. I really hope, as much as we already made fun of the multiverse and stuff, I really do hope they can continue this on and do Superman Earth 1
secondary
stories.
Universe, as long as they keep it organized.
Well, it's the Ultimates, it's there's the regular comics, which is the canon, right? That's what you actually count. And then there's the Ultimates, which it doesn't really count, so it's all, I've been on conversations where someone who's a wannabe comic book geek goes, oh no, and such so and such happened. I go, no, that never happened.
Yeah,
oh, no, it
the
did.
Ultimates.
And I go, what are you talking about? And they say something, I go, no, that's Ultimates. That doesn't count. What are you talking about? I go, that is, and we won't go into all the details of why the Ultimates. They're very good, they're very interesting, and much more realistic even, but it's not canon, it's the regular
They've
comics.
changed a lot of things, Captain America kills people.
It's been a reboot for, stuff like that, so, but, with that, like I said, definitely check it out. If you're a Superman fan, you probably will like it. If you like Superman just because he's really strong and he smashes other things, and you may not.
Metropolis every time he tries to save
you probably won't like it if that's the reason you like Superman. If that's the only reason, you're I don't care about his personality, I just love seeing Superman fighting huge aliens, you may not like it. But if you're a diehard Superman fan, or if you're I like Batman because he's so much better done, why can't they, do Superman better? My wife, definitely check it out. Because you may still not like it, but it definitely has an...
if nothing else, just read it in the Barnes & Noble.
And it may end up being hey, this is the better, one of the better Superman stories. Which, speaking of which, yes, we are sad and pathetic, and since we are on youth pastor and intern salaries, a.k.a.
the
youth pastor salary and living on board, whatever,
right.
a room and a little bit of board... if you are an owner of a comic book company or something, or a shop or something, and you'd like to sponsor the show, we would definitely take free comic books as sponsorship. So that would be awesome. And then we could actually do slightly more current stuff rather than just the actual comics, rather than the graphic novels.
We have stacks that we start doing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And man, every episode that we do, man, we put you on a sponsor. You send us comics, you'll be the sponsor for that episode.
We will make commercials for you.
Yes, we'll even make awesome commercials for you. We would be more than willing to partner with you. Or if you're just saying, hey, I'd like to send in some money to help support you guys in getting comics, and we're not going to say no. You want to put a special shout out to your girlfriend or something? Sure. But with that, we got to cut over. We're kind of joking a little bit, but we're also serious. So let's cut over to the next one.